okay? So I'm going to be collecting the cell phones. And as I said in the email, can everybody come like 15 minutes earlier, okay? Because I don't want to cut, because of all this administrative crap, you'll excuse my English, you know, it's not fair to cut into the exam time, but I have to do it. So please come 15 minutes early if you can, okay? We won't start the exam before, you know, 12:30, because that's not fair to people who can't come earlier, okay? And I get all that stuff out of the way, and that way we can just, you know, use the full hour, 15 minutes for the exam. Okay, now, so I said, no cell phones. Only thing you should have on your desk is pencil, paper, eraser, no. Pencil, pen, eraser, and that's it. No calculator, okay? And I collect the cell phones. Of course, there's always some guy who's going to sneak a cell phone in, but hopefully the proctors will have their eyes out for that. Okay, the reason I'm so, concerned about the cheating is because it's not fair to people who don't cheat. Okay, they have an advantage. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to them also, because they're going to get credit for a thing that they really don't know. And like I said, during the exam, many times there are people who are cheating. I don't catch them, but believe me, I go over every solution with a fine-tooth comb. Okay, and as soon as I see something suspicious, you know, and usually that happens because they're getting the solution from outside. They're using some technique that's way too sophisticated. Okay, even sometimes the notation. I mean, I don't care if you use, like, I've been using phi of x. Okay, you use f of x. I don't care like that. There's certain things with notation, basically, that I get very suspicious. Okay, because usually students either come to the lecture and kind of mimic what I do, or they'll look at the book and do that. Okay, so, you know, and like I said, the worst thing to have is where you have some errors, and then at the end you get the right answer. That, to me, raises a red flag. Doesn't mean necessarily that you're guilty of cheating, but then I have to, you know, my antennas are up when I see that. And what will happen, basically, is that if I have someone in mind who I think, you know, did not perform honestly, okay, they won't get the test back. They'll have to see me, and they're going to be, I give everyone the benefit of the doubt, okay? It's not fair to me to say, oh, this obviously is cheating. He's going to get a 0 and get an F. Okay, you'll have an opportunity to come to my office and explain yourself, okay? But I find many times that's where they just, you know, you don't have your buddy who's been giving you the answers when you're in my office talking to me, right? Okay, so let's not even talk about it anymore. Okay, the only thing which, okay, again, on the sheet, you'll see at the top, there's going to be a line for your name and ID. Please remember to put your ID on there, okay? Because you get enough on the homework. I think finally we've gotten it. There's still some people with the homework, sometimes they slip and don't get the ID, okay? But it makes my job much easier if I have the ID, because a lot of the names are very similar. Also, like I said, I know some people like to use graph paper. Again, unfortunately, because of the cheating situation, you cannot have your own paper, okay? I'll give you plenty of paper, okay? Which is another thing. I don't know, maybe people come from cultures where paper is scarce, okay? Here's something which I don't want to see, okay, because it makes it very difficult to grade, okay, and there's no need for it, okay? Here's your sheet of paper, right? What I suggest is that, you know, make believe it's free, okay? So what I would suggest is start and do every problem on the new sheet, say problem 1, okay? Okay, and then problem 2 on it. You can use both sides if you want to, but you know what, as a suggestion, I'm going to say, probably not a good idea, because many times what will happen is you'll run at the end, you do problem number 1, and you want to continue it, and then you flip over and you need the stuff from the other side, then you copy it wrong, okay? So I suggest do one-sided problem 1, and here's something which drives me nuts, and I see this all the time. They make it like 2-column format. So what will happen is that problem 1 now will be over here, here's problem number 2, here's problem number 3. Don't do that, okay? Because sometimes I miss it. Okay, I want to see problem number 1, and everything below should be problem number 1. Okay, now again, just for strategy speaking, this is more psychological. What I suggest you do is you get the exam, okay, look over all the problems before you even lift your pencil. And then what you want to do is identify, because this will vary from individual to individual, which problem do you think is easy. You say, oh, that one, I'm going to ace that one. There's no question I know how to do that. Do that one first, because it'll put you in a better frame of mind, okay? So like maybe problem number 1 or something, you know, isn't your best, and then you're gonna screw it up, and you'll just be so mad the whole time. And every time you're doing the rest, I remember from my own days of taking tests, Then when you're doing the rest of the test, you're just still basically so frustrated because you didn't get problem number 1 right. So psychologically, I don't care what sequence you do them in, so long as you're right on the top. Maybe you want to start with problem 5. Fine, with problem 5, I don't care, the sequence, okay? But just for your benefit, do them in the order which you think, you can knock them off, because they're all 20 points. See, if you get stuck on, suppose you're stuck on number 1, and then you look up at the clock now, oh my God, half the time is gone, okay? You don't want to do that, okay? Be very careful of the time, and I'll be putting up the remaining time as the test goes on. But again, do the one that for you is the simplest. Okay, I think that's pretty much it, okay? And during the test, I'm reasonable, okay? If you have some problem with something, you can come up here and you can ask me something. But I get people like coming up to me, they say, oh, is this right? I can't do that, right? Okay? Okay, so, be reasonable, okay? Maybe I didn't write it, I tried to write them clearly. I review them, have other people review the questions, make sure they're unambiguous. But, I understand sometimes it's not perfect. And if you need clarification, don't hesitate to ask. But when you start solving it, something like that, I can't, it's not a tutoring session, right? It's a test, okay? So I can't just go over every little step with you, okay? And again, the most important thing, that it be logical, okay? Don't get upset, basically, if the end, maybe, oh shoot, I forgot a factor of 2 or something like that, okay? So long as I see the principal techniques that are used, are logical. Like you had an equation like this, good, he divided through, or she divided through by the coefficient, like that, okay? Got the integrating factor. Maybe when you integrate p of x dx, you made a little error, okay? You're not gonna lose too much credit on that, okay? Okay, so, I want to see, the techniques are right, okay? And also, like I said, I'll take off more credit, like I said, I must have said this a few times already. There'll be people who aren't here who will probably do that. When we had this thing over here where we got, remember we got this thing, and then we got phi of x, and then we got phi dx, and then you get a function. I said, it has to be only a function of x, right? And if I see something like, when you get to the point, let's say you made an algebraic error, and you have phi dx, and you got, I don't know, x squared sine x minus yx squared. Uh-oh, you can't have a y in there, okay? Don't just ignore it and say, oh, I made a mistake, that term isn't there, okay? You should say over here, I give you more credit if you realize at this point that, you would say, I made an algebraic error because I know that the right-hand side can only be a function of x. Then if you'll get more credit for saying that and stopping than going and just integrating this partially, okay? Because that tells me basically that you don't know the difference between total d phi dx, versus partial phi partial x. Big difference, okay? So we get to these type of things that we integrate. This is only a function of x, so you can't have something, you made a mistake if there's a y in there, okay? Because the general theory says that it can't be. We showed that, okay? Also, if you're running out of time, let's say, you have to leave the problem if you at least outline for me what you don't need to do. You say, I'm running out of time, but here's what I would do. I'd find the integrating factor, I'd multiply through, you get some credit, okay? So again, don't be concerned too much with the, don't be sloppy on the algebra, okay? But the most important thing is the concept itself, okay? So I don't think I'm going to start a new topic today. Okay, we'll probably do that on Wednesday. Anybody have any questions? I'm glad to take for the next 5 minutes. Otherwise, we can just see you Monday. Okay?